You're standing at the threshold of something powerful, not a theory, not a concept, but an experience that could alter the course of your life in just one night. It begins not with action, but with awareness. Not with striving, but with allowing. What if tonight could be the moment that opens the door to the reality you've been quietly longing for? You are not here by accident. There is something within you, a deeper knowing, that led you to this exact moment. And tonight, you're going to meet that version of yourself who already has what you seek. Because manifestation isn't about effort, it's about alignment. Neville Goddard, a man far ahead of his time, understood something most people overlook. The mind is not just a tool, it is the creative force behind everything you experience. Through the law of assumption, he revealed a hidden mechanism of reality. When you assume something to be true and persist in that assumption, the world around you bends to reflect it. This isn't magic, it's law, and tonight you'll learn how to activate it. There's a method, simple but profound, that taps directly into your subconscious. The part of you that shapes your world without effort or resistance. This is the one-night manifestation method, and its power lies not in what you do, but in what you become. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing the shift has already begun. The energy has changed. The pathway has opened. That's not a fantasy. It's what happens when you impress your subconscious mind with a new assumption so deeply that reality must follow. So let's begin where all transformation begins. Intention. Right now, choose one desire, not 5, not 3, 1. What do you want more than anything? A relationship that mirrors your deepest love? Financial abundance that frees you? A career filled with meaning and success? Get clear. Let the desire rise to the surface and don't judge it. The universe doesn't reward worthiness. It responds to belief, and clarity fuels belief. Now take that desire and transform it into a statement of truth. Not I want, not I hope, but it is done. Speak it as though it's already real. For example, I am now living in complete financial freedom. I am in a deeply fulfilling, loving relationship. My body radiates perfect health and energy. This is not affirmation. This is identity. You are stepping into the version of yourself who already lives the life you desire. That shift, subtle, internal, but absolute, is what triggers manifestation. Next, enter the silence. Find a quiet space. Dim the lights. Lay down and allow your body to relax completely. With each breath, feel the tension melting away. You are not preparing to force anything. You are preparing to receive. In this space of stillness, begin to see the life you chose. Picture it with detail. Feel it with depth. Imagine walking through a day in your fulfilled reality. See the home. Hear the laughter. Taste the joy. But don't just watch it. Live it. Let yourself feel the emotions of already having it. The calm, the confidence, the ease. Let the images wash over you until your body believes they're real. Because in this state akin to sleep, your subconscious is listening. And your subconscious does not differentiate between real and imagined. It accepts what you feel as true. This is the doorway, and you are walking through it. As you drift towards sleep, keep one thought alive: it is done. Let those 3 words sink in, not as a wish, but as a knowing. Let them echo through your being like a quiet truth you no longer question. This is where the shift happens. While you sleep, your subconscious begins reordering your reality to match the new blueprint you've given it. And the change doesn't come from effort. It comes from surrender. The next morning, don't go searching for signs. Don't ask, where is it? That brings you back to the version of yourself who is still waiting. Instead, walk through the day as the person who knows. Smile at the invisible evidence already forming. Move with certainty. Act from the new identity. This is what Neville meant when he said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. He didn't say to pretend. He said to assume, to occupy, to become. And when you do that, something begins to respond. Opportunities align. People shift. Coincidences appear. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. One night, That's all it takes to initiate the change. But your job isn't to monitor the how. Your job is to maintain the knowing. Repeat this process as often as you need, not because the desire isn't coming, but because you are deepening the state, strengthening the assumption, solidifying the new reality, and the universe, which always matches your internal state, will rise to meet you. So tonight, as you close your eyes, don't carry the weight of wanting. Carry the ease of already having. Because when you assume it's done, it is. You've planted the seed. You've entered the silence. You've felt the wish fulfilled. But now comes the part most people overlook, the part where the real shift takes root. Because manifestation is not just a moment, it's a state. And while one night can open the door, walking through it is a decision you make every day. You see, your subconscious has begun the work. It's rearranging, realigning, reshaping circumstances behind the scenes. But if you wake up and return to doubt, if you search for proof, ask how or when, you interrupt the very process you began. This is why the days after the assumption are just as important as the night itself. Because the outer world takes time to mirror what has already shifted within. So here is the question. Can you walk in the world as though it has already happened? Can you carry yourself like someone who no longer needs the manifestation? Because you know it's already yours. This is not acting. This is alignment. It's not pretending. It's becoming. Imagine you've just received everything you ever asked for. Would you wake up in anxiety? Would you keep checking your phone for signs? Would you keep questioning your worth? No. You would feel different. You would move differently. You would breathe deeper. You would walk slower. You would speak with clarity and confidence. You would radiate peace. And that energy, that state of being, is what locks in the shift. Because the universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your frequency. The more you live from the end, the more you collapse time between intention and manifestation. So when doubt shows up, let it pass. You don't need to argue with it. Just return to the version of you who already has what you desire. That version of you doesn't panic. That version of you isn't watching for results. That version of you is busy living the life you've chosen. This is where repetition becomes sacred. Not mindless repetition, but conscious reinforcement. You remember your intention. You revisit your assumption. You realign with your state. Each time you feel the emotional signature of your desire is already fulfilled, you deepen the groove in your subconscious. You make the unseen more real than the seen. And eventually, the physical must catch up. Neville said, persist in the assumption, and it will harden into fact. Not hope for it, not wait for it. Persist. That means you choose again and again to live from the truth of your desire. Even when nothing outside has changed yet, especially then, because the waiting room is where most give up. They planted the seed, but they dig it up to check if it's growing. Your job is not to make it happen. Your job is to sustain the state. And if you can hold the assumption through silence, through uncertainty, through the illusion of no change, then the bridge of incidents will begin to unfold. You'll get a message. A conversation will lead to an opportunity. Something will shift, not randomly, but as a direct result of your sustained inner knowing. This is the law. The outer must reflect the inner. So today and every day that follows, ask yourself, am I thinking from the desire or about it? There's a difference. To think from it is to be it. To think about it is to remain separate from it. So walk as if it's already done, not to impress anyone, not to trick the universe, but because you know it's already yours. And as that becomes your natural state, manifestation becomes effortless. At first it feels subtle, almost invisible, a conversation that feels strangely aligned, a message that appears out of nowhere, a sudden peace within you, one you can't explain. That's how it begins. Reality doesn't shift with thunder and lightning, it whispers, and if you're paying attention, you'll notice the signs. Not as confirmation, but as reflection. Because the truth is, the shift already happened within you. The outer world is simply catching up. Neville called this the bridge of incidents, a chain of events, seemingly natural, that leads you directly to your desire. But here's the secret. You won't have to force any of it. In fact, if it feels like effort, you've left the state. Because when you're truly in alignment, life moves around you. People show up, doors open, paths clear, not by chance, but by design. You become magnetic, not because you're trying, but because you've stopped trying. This is the paradox. When you no longer need it, it comes. When you no longer chase it, it finds you. Not as a reward, but as a mirror. So your work now is simple. Remain in the state. That doesn't mean you're always visualizing. It means you're living. Living from the assumption that it is already done. You wake up, and instead of asking, "Where is it?" you say, "Thank you." You move through your day without searching for signs, because you already feel the truth of it within you. And that quiet certainty, that's the fertile ground where miracles grow. Now, a word of caution. As the bridge begins to unfold, it might not always look like progress. Sometimes what seems like a detour is part of the path. Sometimes something must fall away to make room. Do not judge the journey by appearances. Reality is not punishing you, it's recalibrating. Hold your state. When the unexpected happens, return to your knowing. When things seem still, return to your inner vision. When doubt knocks, return to the feeling. Because your only true job is this: persistence in the assumption. You don't need to figure it out. You don't need to know how. The how is not your domain. Your domain is the inner world, the state of being. And the longer you remain there, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, what once felt like a dream is your reality. Not because you begged for it, not because you chased it, but because you became it. And once you become it, the universe has no choice. It must reflect it back to you. This is the law. So as you continue your journey, walk with quiet power, speak with certainty, think from the end. And when reality begins to move, don't be surprised. You've summoned it. You've aligned with it. You've become it. Now, allow it. Let the bridge appear. Let life guide you. Let the manifestation unfold in its perfect rhythm. You've done the work. Now receive. There will come a moment, not dramatic, not loud, but deeply personal, when you'll realize it already happened. And not because something outside of you changed, but because you did. You stopped searching, you stopped hoping, you stopped waiting. You became it, and that quietly was everything. Because once you've assumed the state fully, once you've felt it as real, once you've lived it internally, there's nothing more to do. And that's when the world bends, not by force, but by reflection. This is not just a method. It's not a hack. It's a return to your true identity. Because manifestation is not about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you already are. You are not a beggar of the universe. You are the operant power, the one who commands not by shouting, but by assuming, by entering the scene in your mind, dwelling in the end, and trusting that the invisible will always precede the visible. Neville said, "All transformation begins with an intense, burning desire to be transformed. So allow that desire to take root. Let it grow in silence. Feed it not with effort, but with faith." And here's what most never realize. The true goal is not just the manifestation, it's the self you become in the process. The version of you who believes without needing proof, who walks in faith, not in fear, who creates, not reacts. This is the ultimate shift. You are no longer living to attract. You are living as if it's done, as if it's normal, as if it could never be otherwise. And from that place, manifestation becomes natural, a side effect, not the focus, but the outcome. So let this be your new rhythm. Wake up not to fix your world, but to express your truth. Walk not to chase results, but to enjoy what's already yours. You'll notice less resistance, fewer doubts, more flow. Not because reality changed first, but because you did. You became still. And in that stillness, you remembered. You are not separate from what you desire. You are it. The state is the key, not the wish, not the wanting, but the being. So here's the final reminder. You do not have to fight for what's already yours. You only need to return to the feeling, again and again and again, until it becomes natural, automatic, unshakable. And when that happens, you'll never need to manifest the old way again, because you'll realize you've been manifesting all along, even in the silence, even in the waiting. Now you're just choosing to do it consciously, and that is where everything changes.